Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you a quick fire video of all of the books I've unhauled in the past 3 months. Saying that, my timelines haven't worked out. These are all the books I unhauled in October, November, December of 2021. A lot of these books have already gone from my collection, but I like to show you them just so you know how my apartment isn't completely swimming in books. I haul a lot of books and my TBR is the biggest it's ever been right now. So I was a little bit overwhelmed. Round about Christmas time, I did take a look at my shelves and just take off everything I didn't think I was going to read. Everything I've maybe given a chance and just not gotten to, just because I genuinely have that many books that I do not have the time to commit to books I'm not gonna like, or I'm just gonna like find a slog or whatever. So yeah, I did a big unhaul and I have a lot of books to talk to you about. Let me just count them up. I believe I have 49, maybe 50 books. So yeah, let's just get cracking. Actually, before I start, one thing I always say is if you are interested in any of these books that I hold up physically, it means I still have them in my possession and I would like to pass on the love. Saying that, some of these books I was hoping to sell. So yeah, just if you see a book that I'm holding up, you're interested, just drop me a message and I'll see what I can do. So the first book I have to mention is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This is a book I read maybe September, October time, and I didn't absolutely love it. So I just decided to unhaul it because I can't be keeping books on my shelves that I'm never going to reach for again. So that one has gone. Another one, same sort of situation, is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Sutanto. So I read this for Rachel's book club in September, I think. And yeah, I just didn't love it. So it's been unhauled. I don't need to keep a book that I'm not going to revisit. Similarly, for The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, I bought this book thinking John Green had come up with a new fiction masterpiece, and this is actually a collection of essays. I listened to the audiobook even though I'd bought the nice hardback, and then just unhauled the book because I was never going to reread it. Next up, first physical one, which has actually been in shop this whole time, is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I bought this physical book a very, very long time ago when I first listened to the audiobook of this story. I gave it 5 stars when I first listened, and I think I gave it 4 stars on reread, but I just know that I'm never going to read it again. So the most interesting part about this book is the big twist. We're following Simon, who is exchanging emails with a guy online, and we are trying to find out who this guy is, pretty much. So going into my reread, I knew who the guy was. All of the shock factor had gone, and yeah, that kind of made it quite a lot less enjoyable. So I'm never going to read it again because I'm definitely going to know who it is this time. So yeah, this one can go, but I do really love this book. Next up, we have Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, which I think went to Chelsea. But this is a book with a lot of video game references. It's a VR, not VR, AR? I don't know. There's a lot of video game stuff going on. There is a competition to solve a big puzzle, and I didn't dislike it, but really it just didn't tick that many boxes for me. I'm never going to reread it, so it's gone. A very popular book I DNF'd is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I tried to read it, I got like 40 pages in and just did not care. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of people love this book, but a lot of people have said the audiobook is the route to go. So maybe I will try that again another day, but yeah, I couldn't do it. Next we have Frozen Charlotte by Alex Ball, which I read as a buddy read with Leanna, and I enjoyed it, I really did, but I'm never going to reach for it again. I also had a very grubby copy, it was secondhand, and I just didn't really like holding it, so I wanted to get myself the big box set of these YA horrors. Maybe I will do that one day, maybe not, but for now I didn't need this grubby secondhand book on my shelves. Next up, one that went to Tony, is Thirst No. 2 by Christopher Pike. This is a collection of 3 books following Alyssa, I want to say Alyssa, who is the last vampire on Earth, and I really like these stories. I had Thirst 1, 2 and 3, so that's 9 books total. I still haven't read number 3, but Tony took 1 and 2 off my hands. They're just fun. They're kind of late 90s vampire cult fiction, and I like them, but not enough to keep them forever. Then we have The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor, which I also think went to Chelsea. This is a classic thriller story. A lot of people on BookTube do really love it. I just sadly didn't connect with it. I didn't really care for the mystery. I was kind of bored, and yeah, Chelsea showed some interest, so it went straight to her. Next up, we have Clean Break by Jacqueline Wilson, which is one I read quite a few months ago, and my 9-year-old cousin, 9? Is she 9? I think my 9-year-old cousin. She showed some interest, so I decided that I would read it and pass it straight to her. Another one I have physically is Little Creeping Things by Chelsea Itcheso. I am so disappointed in this book. I paid full price, which I never do. And this is about Cassidy. It is a YA mystery, thriller, horror, I'm not even sure. Just to say, the doll does not play a key part, which is upsetting, and I gave this book 2 stars. I just didn't really like the main character, I didn't care for the mystery, and so that one is gone. Then I had one of my least favourite books of 2021, which, Emily, close your ears, is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. I didn't like this, so it got unhauled. That's all I'll say. Then my second least favourite book of last year, Survive the Night by Danielle Vega. I hated this book with a passion, and maybe I should just link my worst books of 2021 video, because a lot of these are going to be on there. Next we have one that I just didn't really get what more I was meant to get out of this, and that is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. This is a graphic novel following 2 characters, Josiah and Deja, who work on a pumpkin patch, and they work with each other every summer, but this is their last summer, and yeah, I just really... It was cute, the art style is adorable, but I'm never gonna revisit this, so it can go. Next up, we have a book I wish I wouldn't have tried to read, and that is The Vampire Diaries, The Awakening and the Struggle by LJ Smith. These are the first 2 Vampire Diaries books, and I don't even know why they printed these with the TV show covers, because if you've seen the TV show, you're probably not going to enjoy this. The stories are completely different, the characters are completely different, and yeah, if you've never ventured into the world of the Vampire Diaries, then maybe give it a go. But if it's your favourite TV series of all time, like it is mine, I wouldn't bother. Next up, we have a book I really wanted to love, and that is Walking on Sunshine by Giovanna Fletcher. This was Rachel's book club pick for November. It can't have been November, maybe it was November. And I was the co-host, but I didn't actually really love this book. This follows some characters where one of their best friends has died, and she has left them with kind of jobs to do, tasks to do to continue living, pretty much. I've probably butchered that, but I just didn't really love it, and I'm never going to revisit it. I pre-ordered this book so that I had it on release day. It's a massive hardback. It was, you know, it's barely been touched, but I'm not going to revisit it. It can go. Next up, we have 3 books in a series. We have Revelations, The Van Allen Legacy, and Misguided Angel, all by Melissa de la Cruz. These are books 3, 4, and 5 of the Blue Blood series. Quite a while ago, I got in a kick of re-hauling the Blue Blood series because I read them when I was a teenager and decided I would like to reread them. Sadly, I read the first 2 and gave them both 3 stars, maybe even a 2.5, and I just didn't have the effort required to carry on. So I unhauled these, they've gone to a better home, and yeah, it just wasn't for me. Next up, we have The Explorer by Catherine Rundell. Oh, I'm just not going to read it, am I? I'm just not going to read it. I hauled a few middle grade books that I thought I was interested in. A few more will be showing in this haul, but in this unhaul rather. It's just not going to happen. This is a survival story of some kids that are in a jungle. And I know the audiobooks on SCRIBD. If I want to consume it that way, I will, but I don't know why I hauled this. And it's also quite chunky. Then I have 2 books that people will be really happy to see in this unhaul, and that is Stop in the Name of the Pants and Are These My Bazoomas I See Before Me by Louise Renison. So these are books 9 and 10 in the Georgia Nicholson series. They are the final 2 books, and I don't know what I was doing to myself. So I bought all 10 books and I decided I had to read every single one of them. I was giving each book 2 stars, if that, 1, 1.5, 2 stars, and I was continuing to keep reading them. Why was I doing that? I wasn't enjoying them. So I'm just gonna hurt my completionist self and not finish the series. These can go. My mom has just texted me to say she'll be here any minute and I'm not ready, so let me speed through the rest of this unhaul. We have Love at First Like by Hannah Orenstein. Thank you so much to Emily for gifting me this when you were unhauling it, but it's just not gonna happen. I'm just not gonna read it. I don't know why I thought I would. I'm so sorry for wasting your time. Next up, we have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I read this book quite a while ago. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, and I said that I'd like to reread it and give it another chance. But I've got enough books to read for the first time, so I kind of only want to be rereading favourites. Next up, we have an interesting one. We have Rude by Katie Hopkins. This was a gift from my ex-boyfriend. I read it when he gifted it to me. I actually did enjoy it, I will say. I don't mind admitting that. It was a very interesting look at somebody with quite out there opinions. If you don't know who Katie Hopkins is, she is an English opinionated person who is not afraid of sharing her opinions. So we can say whatever we want about my ex-boyfriend, but he bought me a signed copy of this book that was personalised, and I read it. And I will say it was interesting. It was interesting. I'm not going to go out recommending this book. I feel like there was a lot about, she had some brain surgery that was very, very interesting to hear about, and her recovery and things like that. So it was interesting, but I don't need that in my collection. Next up, we have Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. This is a book I had from a box of stories, and I was holding on to it for if I ever did a readathon with a sci-fi prompt. I now realise that if I get a sci-fi prompt, I could probably read Ice Planet Barbarians, so I don't need to hold on to this for just that reason. Next, we have The Extinction Trials by S.M. Wilson. This is apparently The Hunger Games meets Jurassic Park. I'm not reaching for it anytime soon. I think the audiobook is on SCRIBD. I also have the ebook on my Kindle, so I don't need to clog up my physical shelves. Next up, we have The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare. This is a book I was gifted a while ago, and I'm not gonna read it. So this is kind of the textbook, for better words, that Clary is given to learn about the Shadowhunter world, Clary being from City of Bones, and it was genuinely a textbook with annotations, and it's not appealing to me, I'm sorry. Then we have The Manifesto on How to Be Interesting by Holly Bourne. I put this on 2 TBRs and I never got round to it. I've never really loved a Holly Bourne book, so it can go to a better home. Next up, we have The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I got this copy for about 25p. It has got a few pages with chunks missing, like maybe 2 pages, but the audiobook is on SCRIBD, I believe, and if I really want to read it, I'll just go that route. Next up, we have Best Friends by Jacqueline Wilson. I have a lot of Jacqueline Wilson books on my shelves, and I decided to thin out my collection. This one wasn't really appealing to me. I'm not gonna read it and enjoy it, so it can go. We then have It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I really wanted to enjoy this book. It is a take on mental health and depression and psychiatric hospitals. I believe, I didn't know this while reading it, but there is a very sad story surrounding Ned Vizzini. I just didn't really like this book, and I'm not gonna read it. Like, I don't want to read it again with Ned's troubles also in my mind. So it's just gonna go. I don't need this in my life. It's quite depressing. Next up, we have This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills. I read this as part of a book club we don't talk about anymore. Now things have been said between this person, like, I genuinely do not care. But I was keeping this for the nice cover. This person, obviously not being Emma Mills, I'm talking about somebody else. This person was going to give me some books by Emma Mills with nice covers as well, so I was going to have a little collection. That's not happening anymore. I don't need to keep this just for the nice cover. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, so I didn't hate it, but the aesthetic reasons don't exist anymore. Next, we have Love Secret Santa by S.A. Domingo, which is a YA contemporary story surrounding a Secret Santa gift swap in a high school, and our main character is getting gifts from a guy. She doesn't know who this person is that's giving her gifts. Yeah, it was cute, it was romantic, it was sweet, I liked it, but I'm just not going to reread it. Next up, we have Dancing with the Octopus by Deborah Harding. This is a true crime memoir that I just didn't love, unfortunately. I didn't really care too much about Deborah's story. The writing style was really jarring, but I did read this for my book club, and I had an interesting time reading it with the people in my book club. Next up, we have a full series, kind of. We have Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stare, and The Hand on the Wall, all by Maureen Johnson. There is now a 4th book, but I didn't own this at the time, and I will not be reading it. But this is a YA mystery series, and I kind of disliked these with a passion by the end. They've been passed on to a patron who wanted them, so it's fine, they're out of my life. Next up, we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I gave Lucy Foley a second chance. I did not like The Hunting Party, so decided to give her another go. Didn't appreciate her on the second time either, so this can go. One Day in December by Josie Silver. I read it, I kind of enjoyed it. It's not Christmassy, I thought it was Christmassy, and there's no need for me to read this again. Getting close now, we have The Secret Santa by Trish Harnato, which was one of my least favourite books of last year. This was a locked room mystery thriller that wasn't actually locked and wasn't thrilling, so I got rid of that. Also have The Downstairs Neighbour by Helen Cooper, which I bought my first time in America last year, and then I unhauled it by my second trip. I took it back and said if I hadn't read it I would unhaul it. I didn't read it, it went. 13 by Steve Kavanagh is the same situation. I took it with me. I actually read this one and hated it. Why did I forget that? Took this one with me, hated it, unhauled it. 50/50 I also had with me, again by Steve Kavanagh. When I didn't like 13, I just unhauled 50/50 straight away. This is 50 books because I forgot one. I then have P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern, which I took with me to America. Didn't read it, so I unhauled it, but I have listened to the audiobook since. And then it's the same situation for 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. Took it with me, didn't read it in time, left it there, so unhauled it, and listened to the audiobook since coming home. We then have Would Like to Meet by Rachel Winters, which is just an adult contemporary romance story. I didn't really like it. I read it again while I was in America, didn't want to carry it home, so unhauled. Also, Stags by M.A. Bennett. Read this in January because it's already on my worst books list of 2022, so we shall see how that goes throughout the year, but yes, hated this book. We then have The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This is the second book in the Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue series. I gave this 3 stars. I didn't outright hate it, but it's just not doing anything for me, and it's a chunky book to keep around when I'm probably not going to reread it, so it's gone. And the final book that I unhauled is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This is for a good reason though. Rachel got me the hardback for Christmas and I didn't feel like I needed 2 copies of this book, so I passed the paperback on to Chelsea because I think she will really enjoy it. But yes, on that note, those are all of the books I unhauled in kind of October, November, December, bit of January. And yeah, let me know, are there any of these books that make you want to scream at me? Are you happy I got rid of any of these? I'd be very, very interested to hear. But on that note, I'm pretty sure my mom's going to be here in about 30 seconds and I've not brushed my teeth. So that is all I have time for. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!